So yesterday, all 8 episodes of Wonder Man dropped all at once because Marvel's an evil company and they barely did any marketing. I've just finished binging all 4 hours of it, and it's actually decent. Granted, I haven't been expecting much from any of the MCU's recent projects lately. I mean, as a kid, I was a fan of Marvel, but I was never really a diehard. Like, I'd go see a film on opening weekend, but I'd never buy any merch, or I'd never buy a prop of Thor's hammer. It was, they're not high art, and that's okay. That's okay. They don't need to be. They're just entertaining films and TV series you can tune into every once in a while. I mean, sure, you have exceptions with Loki and Guardians of the Galaxy, but mostly the MCU is, for lack of a better term, is cape shit, and I like that. With Wonder Man, Destin Daniel Cretton tries to make something unique, a show about the trials and tribulations of navigating a career in Hollywood. In a sense, he does succeed in making something different from the rest of the MCU. Unfortunately, it kind of falls flat. Many shows have done this type of story before, a guy with secrets trying to become an actor, alongside the help of an old, washed-up actor who missed on his big shot. Most notably, Barry, which just so happens to be my favourite show of all time. But Barry has a perfect blend of action, comedy, genuine horror and suspense, whereas Wonder Man, it just repeats the same plot beats over and over again, but dressed in a different style. I mean, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, he's given a fantastic and extremely charismatic performance, but it doesn't matter how many different scenarios you put him in, it gets tiring if the only material he has is to be overly stressed and ruin his opportunity, or he gets fired every time, and then he has to be emotional, reckon with himself, and just accept that he can do it, that you don't need to overthink it. He does this every single scenario, and I feel bad for him because he's so good in this. Another glaring problem is the pacing. Just like Barry, the episodes here are only 30 minutes long, but unlike Barry, they really drag here. I mean, so much could be trimmed and just worked into a tight 2-hour-long movie, and this would be really, really fun. This would be a great movie. It takes 5 episodes for this to truly pick up the pacing, and despite how much I love Joe Pantoliano and dynamic between Yahya and Ben Kingsley, it really doesn't have enough for a 4-hour-long series. And some of the writing is very wonky, and the cinematography, it just suffers from the usual generic MCU desaturation filter at times. But overall, it's quite an interesting watch. I mean, sure, it's not inventing the wheel, it doesn't really do anything fresh, but it's still engaging to see Simon Williams' journey. You really do get to understand and you sympathise for him, because you learn why he has such strong feelings of pressure and self-doubt at all times. And I caught myself actually feeling pretty tense during episodes where it genuinely feels like everything could crumble for him in 1 second. I mean, the standout, obviously, with episode 7, where it just feels like it's like an episode of The Studio. It's 30 minutes of tension where you think, this is going to blow up, this is going to end terribly. I really, really like that episode. Episode 4 is the weird one. It's the big swing of the season, and I don't hate it. And it's black and white, it features different characters and a completely different story, and it's unconnected to the actual show. But it doesn't do anything new with the topic it's tackling. It just does the generic story about 15 minutes of fame and superhero fatigue. The black and white filter, it doesn't serve a real purpose to the story. It just feels like they tacked it on so they could say this one was more artsy and thoughtful. It doesn't really serve any meaning, doesn't help the writing to be black and white. Nevertheless, it is certainly still an interesting episode, and it's one of the standouts of the series in that it actually does something bold and it deviates completely from the main storyline. But it also comes at the cost of completely killing the show's momentum, and it ruins the pacing, which was already pretty bad up until here. I mean, if they put this at episode 6 and they had some actual foreshadowing and build up to it, I think this episode would work really, really well. As it stands, it's still one of the highlights of the seasons, but it is horribly misplaced. Like I said, the cinematography is pretty good. There's real colour and contrast and shot composition most of the time. And some shots, like I said, still fall into the ugly MCU Disney plus grey and overexposed look. And the entire show, it still feels like a Disney Plus show. You can tell it's not HBO Game of Thrones with how overly clean the cinematography is. But it has more vibrance and soul than most other MCU projects, so that counts for something. All in all, this is one of the better MCU shows. Though I don't think it goes as deep as it should, with, surface level criticism of Hollywood, and that it almost feels out of touch at times. It does a decent enough job with what it has. Episodes 3, 7 and the finale are the standouts in how they actually have important messages and proper writing. Or how the finale just does a complete tonal shift halfway and it spends 10 minutes on a new plotline. I really, really like how out of place and sincere the finale was. It's so quiet, there's no action, no big climax, it's just him connecting with a normal guy. It's really good. It really is a great finale. Unfortunately, I didn't like the cliffhanger ending. It doesn't feel like a proper ending to the series. It was quite lackluster how it just ended, If Marvel doesn't do a second season, it's going to be a big mistake because this is one of the only real shows with potential. Daniel Destin Cretton, he has proper skills, he's proper source, and I cannot wait to see what he does with his Spider-Man film later this year. Wonder Man gets 3 stars out of 5 for me, and a heart. While it didn't impress me much, it shows that the MCU can be more than just bright colours and CGI superhero spectacle, that they can make quiet character-driven shows if they really put their minds to it. I did enjoy watching this, it dares to do something interesting, and it does a good job keeping you engaged for most of the runtime. That finale is incredibly fresh and nothing like what I was expecting. I liked it, and hopefully they can improve with season 2 if they do it. And yeah, that's all I got.